Okay, welcome everybody this morning to the West Grey Council Chambers. Anybody that is out there and everybody that's in the audience today to our council meeting on March 4th. And we'll call the meeting to order. And if you could please rise. We'll take a moment of reflection before we begin our duties. Amen. Thank you. And I'm going to ask if there's any declaration of pecuniary interest. Declaration of interest. Council members, seeing none, it can be declared if it does arise at any time. And Ms. Noble, can you give us an update on anybody that is joining us virtually and how they can join virtually?
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Eccles, before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. Both member of council and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hands physically to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to myself, West Grey Communications, and I will attempt to assist you. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is taking place across two meeting platforms, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Public participation, if any, must be done through Zoom and cannot be done through YouTube at this time.
Thank you, Ashley. We're down to number 4 on the agenda, which is delegations, and we do have a delegation this morning. I'm going to welcome Ms. Austin. Rose is from the Saugeen Connects. We're going to do a review from the Saugeen Economic Development Corporation. And as I said, welcome to you. I would ask you to use the microphone so as we're streaming live, somebody in Hong Kong will be listening to you today. Well, I'm making that assumption. You'll have to push the top button there. Gray button. Yeah. And is it turned on? And the gray button on the... No? Uh-oh. Well, here comes... Yes. Quick technical whiz. Now, it's not turned on. Just push the gray button on the, there you go. Rose, you are live.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. I have presented with a PowerPoint presentation. However, I'm not going to read all of the slides as we go through, but I will summarize the various pillars that Saugeen Connects partakes in. So prior to 2017, discussions were held among the economic development officers, mayors, and some select CAOs to explore collaborative approaches to regional economic development. The goal was to identify strategies where a modest investment could yield significant benefits for our communities. Through these discussions, we collectively determined 4 key areas where our efforts could have the greatest impact. How do I advance the slides?
Just ask Ashley.
Oh, you can go to the first one there.
There you are.
So you can see that in March of 2017, SEDC and 5 municipalities joined through this collaborative project: Brockton, Hanover, Minto, Wellington North, and West Grey. In May of 2021, we welcomed Aaron Eldersley and followed by the inclusion of South Bruce in 2022. In the end of 2024, Aaron Eldersley decided to leave Saugeen Connects. They were going to take another path for economic development. So you can see our shared mission statement there. If you can go to the next slide, please. We did win an award in 2019 through the Community Futures Award for excellence in community economic development. So Saugeen Connects won that award. If you can go to the next slide, please. Those are the 4 collaborative areas that we decided to focus on. Next, please. So our student startup program, and while I'm speaking, you can just go through these slides. I think there's 3 or 4 of them that you can go through regarding our student startup program, or otherwise known as SUP, which has been one of our most rewarding initiatives, providing young entrepreneurs with the opportunity to develop their skills and embrace the challenges of business ownership. Watching youth grow through this program has been an inspiring experience. Its success has drawn interest from numerous communities and was prominently featured at the CFWO annual general meeting. So throughout the course that we've started SUP, we've had over 250 students take part in the program, some of them coming back every couple of years, starting various different types of businesses within those communities. You can continue to scroll through. So they've created 228 new businesses throughout the time that we've started this. There was a video here, but the video is not being shown today. If you could go to the next slide, please. So WOWSA. WOWSA is now housed under Saugeen Connects, and WOWSA stands for Women of Wellington and Saugeen Area. And it has grown to over 300 members. Each partner municipality hosts an annual event in collaboration with local women-owned businesses, fostering networking, mentorship, and economic growth within their communities. You can see the various projects that we run under WOWSA. You can go through the next slide, please. And the next slide, please. And the next one. Here we go. So we are excited to launch AWE, which is Advancing Women Economically, tomorrow at our International Women's Day dinner, which will be held at the Newstead Community Center. This 10-week virtual program is designed to support aspiring female entrepreneurs as they embark on their business journeys. The workshops are held over the lunch hour, cover a range of essential topics related to entrepreneurship. This year, we are proud to welcome 16 women to the program. A lot of these women will have barriers to attending some of these workshops, so we have set aside $500 per person that should they have any barriers that will not allow them to take part, we will be able to assist them with those funds. You can go to the next slide, please. So our workforce project concluded in June, having successfully engaged over 200 participants from more than 10 businesses within our communities. The program provided training to help employers overcome key hiring challenges, including supporting individuals with disabilities, those facing economic hardships, language barriers, and newcomers. In addition to recruitment strategies, the project emphasized workforce and retention and the benefits of a diverse labor force. And the next slide, please. Succession matching and planning has been an integral part of Saugeen Connects. While our succession matching program has yet to be fully utilized, we are actively developing strategies to enhance its effectiveness. Our succession planning webinars, traditionally held in the fall, were not offered in 2024. However, we are committed to relaunching them in 2025. And the next slide. And the next one. And that is an update on Saugeen Connects, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you very much, Rose. Saugeen Economic Development has been in the community for quite a while, with different ways of advancing. Are there any questions for Rose at this point in time? Anyone? Questions, comments? Who's going to win the Stanley Cup? Rose is open to all questions, she said.
Anything
Doug.
except hockey related.
There. Yeah, not really a question. Just wanted to thank you, Rose, for all that you guys do down there. It's, I think some of the programs are exciting and obviously there's a need and you recognize that. And I think it's great what you're doing with SCDC. So thank you.
Thank you. I would really like to point out that this is a partnership between SCDC and the municipalities that are involved. So we all work collectively together to deal with these 4 common pillars. So
Anyone else? Going once, going twice? Just that close. No. Jeffrey, go ahead, Councillor Shea.
You just made it sound so enticing. Thanks for the presentation. And so you work with all these different communities. When you're working with the community, who would you typically liaison with in each municipality?
yes, with the economic development officer is the usual, but if there is not an EDO within the municipality, it's whomever the municipality puts forward as a representative.
And how many of those have EDOs?
Almost all, well, all of the ones that are partners now do, with the exception of West Grey.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it. Well, thank you very much, Rose, for
Thank
coming
you.
in today. Greatly appreciated. Great update on one of those that you probably don't get enough publicity for, but working behind the scenes and whatnot. And as Councillor Hutchison had said, a lot of great work in the development of the community at large. It's not just Minto or Bruce County or Grey County. We're all just as a community and without the boundaries, and your corporation crosses a lot of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
again, And
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I guess the final question would be, is South Bruce Peninsula, are they involved? And
No.
with that, is spring coming soon, or do we have to rely on the groundhog out there?
SEDC's catchment area doesn't go up that far, but South Bruce, including Malmay and Formosa and Teeswater is involved in the program. Yes, yes, yes,
Very
yes.
good.
So
No.
thank you for your time. If you do have any further questions and you would like any follow-up, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Be careful what you ask for sometimes, but yes. we
Not a
certainly will.
problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Brings us down to today, number 5, public meetings. Not aware of any, none's come up since the agenda was published, certainly. Comment period. At this point, we offer a few minutes for anyone that would like to make a comment on for the public on anything that is on the agenda. We are lacking some people in the audience today, but is there anybody online that would like to make a comment? Ashley? No? Okay. Then we can go down to number 7, adoption of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to adopt from February the 18th, the regular council meeting, and minutes from the public meeting held on February the 18th. Do those both together. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Hutchison, and a seconder, Councillor Forrester. Scott, thank you. Any comments, errors, or omissions on those minutes? Haven't got, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Accepting those minutes, I'll declare that approved. Committee and board reports. We do certainly have a number. There is in number 8, minutes of the West Grey Public Library, Smart Transit, Saugeen Valley Conservation Board from January the 17th, highlights of the Grey County Council meeting on February the 13th, minutes from the Municipal Airport, February 19th, and minutes from the Durham BIA from February 24th. Do we have a mover to accept or receive, as it is, receive those 6 sets of minutes? Councillor Shea and Councillor Hutchison. Thank you, Jeff. Doug? Any comments, questions on any of on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Correspondence. Correspondence package. We have a couple of correspondence that need direction from council. So we'll start with on page 56 of the package, Autism Ontario, Autism Day proclamation for 2025. Any questions or comments on that? Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
A couple questions come to mind. First of all, do we have a flag? And they talk about a flag and we can purchase one. I don't remember whether we bought a flag or not for Autism Day.
And I'll let staff answer that. Sure what's downstairs. Jamie?
Through your miracles, I do not believe West Grey owns an Autism Day flag.
Okay, which brings to mind my second question, which is where are we with our policy? Because I know we had quite a discussion with this flag issue before. So did we ever finalize a policy on that?
Well, no, we haven't. We're not going to, get into that direction. Good try, though. That's to come. And I think what we could do and what we have done in prior times is for Autism Day, if we wanted to go that way, I think the best thing is we could put notice on the electronic sign out here, which probably would get more recognition than a flag that isn't recognized on a pole someplace. Okay, my comments. Any other comments on the Autism Day? Direction do we want to give? Councillor Shea. Jeff?
Would we need a motion to undertake the initiative that you just described? Then I would make that motion.
You have something there, Jamie? Mr. Clerk?
Through your miracles, yes, I have that in consideration of correspondence received from Autism Ontario respecting a request to proclaim April 2nd, 2025 as World Autism Day. Council proclaims April 2nd, 2025 as World Autism Day. With that, staff would be more than happy to put such recognition on our digital sign at the road. So we wouldn't necessarily need to add that to the motion.
That's how we'll recognize it. So go ahead, Jeff.
And to register with the organization, they invite us to register, participating municipalities to register. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Shea will move that. Do we have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Hutchison? Any further questions or comments on that piece of correspondence? Joyce, Councillor Nunn.
Thank you. So with that, then we're just going to recognize it, but not purchase the flag to on that specific day. It's just the recognition. Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. 9.1.2, Durham BIA, request for a board appointment. What does this one interpretation mean on this one, Jamie? Or somebody from the BIA? Oh, that would be Mr. Hutchison. Doug?
Yes, just we had a member after we delegated the board or the committee, I guess, we had members step down. So we're asking to appoint someone else who has been at our meetings fairly regular anyway. So Nancy Nurse is one that we requested.
Okay, thank you. And the BIA board is appointed or designated by council, so that's why it's here. It's the member coming forward. Are you making that motion, Mr. Hutchison? Okay. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Townsend. Doug and Doug. That's to appoint Nancy Nurse as a resident. Nancy is with the Foundry Restaurant, I believe. That's who Nancy is. Okay, any other questions on that, Jeff?
So the BIA is arm's length from council, so we appoint the members, but we don't recruit the members. Typically with other committees, we put a notice out and we, get applications, et cetera. But then because they're arm's length, we do it differently.
I'm gonna let Jamie make that explanation.
Through miracles, yes, more or less. So the way it works is the BIA is arm's length. They're fully autonomous, independent. The way the municipal act is written, the board can recommend individuals for appointment, but ultimately it's up to council to actually make those appointments. So in addition to that, should the board provide somebody's name who council is not supportive of, council wouldn't necessarily have to appoint that member either. So council could still play a role in that. But typically the way it works is that the board would put forward a name for appointment and then council would consider that and then make that formal appointment.
Okay. Any other questions? Call the question on the appointment for the BIA board. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Reflections Festival fundraiser 9.1.3. The group in take it the more northeast part of the municipality is where Reflections, the property that's in question up near Markdale, is looking for a festival and they want a noise exemption. Any further explanation on this one? Jamie?
Dear Miracles, our noise bylaw does prohibit the amplification of sound from electronic devices or other devices for the reproduction or amplification of sound and loud playing of musical instruments. There is a provision in the noise bylaw that allows individuals to request an exemption from that provision of the noise bylaw by making that request to council directly. So the dates and times that the group is looking for an exemption from have been listed in the correspondence, and council can either accept those the way they are, modify them slightly, or just receive the correspondence for information.
Any questions on this one? Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
Yeah, just a little bit curious. I would hope, it sounds like they've had this festival or this fundraising event last year. I guess my concern would be that we ran into some issues maybe a few years ago in the Priceville area with a group that had a party all weekend long sort of thing. And I see this one doesn't involve alcohol, so that I guess that maybe makes things a little bit simpler. But I'm just wondering with the neighborhood, whether we're going to get any pushback from the neighborhood, because now you're playing music all day long for 3 and 4 days. And I'm a little concerned with the lateness of the music. I think 2 a.m. seems late. If we're going to okay it, I would say we recommend 12 or 1. Be interesting to see where it all goes. I'm not really against the event, but I just know that in the past, sometimes when you have these big festivals, all of a sudden the neighbors say, what's going on here and why is all this noise and can we not get away from it and who gave permission and the whole ball of wax. So that's my concern.
I think you are correct. I believe this would be the second year for this festival, so it was ran last year. Would you like a bit of a follow-up on the staff report on, I'm not sure if I didn't attend it last year, I can say that. Want a bit of a staff report back on how it was received by the community and how they followed any rules last year. Before we do the next going forward. Doug?
Further, I do see it says 150 attendees. I'm curious, I'm thinking being a weekend festival, I presume there's going to be trailers for the weekend, that type of thing. We don't know that for sure. I just know the people that behind this reached out to me originally and said, you know, this is what we'd like to do. How do we go about it? And I put it on to our CAO or to the staff and then they've been dealing with them. So, I think the good thing is that they've come forward and tried to go through the procedures and the steps in order to run this and do it. So I'm just not sure what our role is, how much control we really have on something like this, but I'll leave it at that.
One staff member, Madam CEO.
Thank
Michelle?
you so much. Good morning, council. This event did take place for the first time last year. I believe it was the beginning of July because I recall it was the weekend before I started here. We did meet with the group following Councillor Hutchinson putting them in touch with us. At this point, the municipality does not have a special event permitting process. So any events, as long as they follow municipal bylaws, provincial, federal legislation, are permitted to happen at this point. We are working on a policy that we would like to bring forward to council for consideration later in the year. However, we have put together a special event guide to help organizers, especially for large events, make sure they are in compliance with all the things they need to do, including, you know, if they've got food trucks, making sure there's food, proper inspections taking place, that they have a parking plan in place. And I believe that some of those items following our meeting were addressed in this request to council. That being said, my understanding is there were complaints from neighbors last year related to this event. And if it were council's wish, what I would like to do is come back with a report to council and circulate this request to our various departments, including our police services, so we can get a little bit of feedback so that council can make perhaps a more informed decision with some of that background information from last year.
Okay. Jamie, you have anything further? Good. Further, Councillor Hutchison? Good.
I think I'd like to see us go the route of having some kind of permit or some kind of application process. I can remember another incident that happened, and I'm not sure if it was maybe before this council, when we had an event happen in the conservation area in Durham, and there was loud music being played all day long. And so one of my questions would be, well, what about the decibel level of some of this music? Like it created a fair bit of havoc because all of a sudden the event was going on and we as a municipality weren't aware of it. It was run through the Conservation Authority and Durham Park. And so it created quite a stir within the town of Durham. So I think it's a good idea to have some control so that we can make some regulations on how things take place. And yes, the food trucks is another aspect and that type of thing.
Thank you. And if I may add, it is unlikely a special event policy will be before council that will impact this summer season. We have a number of events. I think the other thing that we need to be cognizant of is there are other events taking place across the municipality and have for a number of years. And I think there needs to be a fairness and an equity if we're going to grant one, but what are the stipulations around that? So I think if it were council's wish for this one particularly, we'll give you all those considerations as you may want to, take that into consideration as you make a decision on this related to times for noise, et cetera. And then the idea would be by the fall that we would bring forward a special events permit policy for your consideration that we would likely recommend for implementation next year. So we impact the summer season for next year.
Okay. Can we do that by direction? Jimmy? So what I'm hearing is that, do you want a motion on that to we defer the decision on this request because of a follow-up staff report, information report?
Through Miracles, I have that in consideration of correspondence received from Kevin Lawson, co-founder of the Reflections Festival respecting a noise bylaw exemption request. Council directs staff to bring forward a report respecting the request for a noise exemption.
Yeah, almost like what I said. Thank you, Jamie. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Hutchison, second by Councillor Noon. Okay. That we have a follow-up for more information on this festival proposal. Okay. Questions? Jeff, Councillor Shea.
The event is in May. Would we be getting that at our next council meeting?
I will try to have it for the March 18th. If not, it'll be the first one of February. I have to circulate it to departments and the deadline, we have to get our reports in, I think, by today. So I might have some sway to be a little bit late on getting my report submitted, but I do have to get some feedback from the other departments, police service particularly. So I will expedite it and aim for the March 18th. If not, it'll be the first meeting in April, which I think is April 2nd or 1st.
First, I believe it is. Yeah. No fooling there on that day. Okay. Good job. I think that would still work with this group. All right. Anything else? Do we have a motion on the floor? Oh, all in favor of this motion? Any opposed? That's carried. Very good. Dealing with the rest of the correspondence. There's a number of other, it's 6 other ones in there. Yeah. Is there? Yeah, we're down at 9.2, which is the rest of the correspondence package. Is there anything in there? Any other of the correspondence to comment on or want pulled? Councillor Hutchison.
Well, I have some questions on some of them. I don't know, we need to pull them to ask some questions, or I'm not necessarily me asking to support them as much as some clarification.
Let's start with the first one and see how your clarification question goes.
Okay. So the first one has to do with speeding and distracted driving and so on, which we've had some numerous discussions on. And I wouldn't mind supporting it, but I'm a little concerned that they talk about the Good Roads Rural Road Safety Strategy that that Oxford County and Oxford municipalities are supporting or promoting. And I would like to have more information. If we were to go in this direction, maybe it's a good thing, but I would like to have some input from our chief of police if it's something that they're going to have to manage. So I think I would like more information on that before supporting it. So I'm not sure if that's a new thing. If they're aware of it, are they using this road strategy by the that's put out by Good Roads? I'm not sure. So just looking for more information. I'm not sure if staff can clarify that or anyone's aware of. Or maybe some people in council know more about than I do. I don't know.
Anybody know anything about Good Roads? Anybody going to Good Roads? Yep. I think we can gather some information and go. To your point, though, Doug, we believe we've already supported a couple of ones on that. So just a bit of more follow-up information on if there anything above and beyond in this. We can circle back to it on a further date. Yeah, we'll do that and report back from Good Roads. Okay? You're good on that. I'll give you another shot. What's the next one? Do you want your microphone on or?
Number 3, having to do with Conservation Authority Policies Manual. So they're looking for input on the policies manual. I'm just wondering if we as a municipality have had any input. I know we have strong representation on the Conservation Authority, but I'm just wondering if have we made any formal submissions to this policy manual that they're talking about.
Michelle, Madam CEO.
Thank you through you to the council. I have circulated to senior staff and asked them to review it and have some, if they've got any feedback to let me know, which we will share. I haven't received anything at this point, but I will send a reminder. And if there's anything, I will be sure to share that.
And just as a little bit more information, one municipality did a very in-depth review. Saugeen Shores has already gone through it. From looking, and I don't want to speak out of turn with the chair of the board sitting beside me, but I think that was, it addressed most municipal aspects in that review that Saugeen Shores has done on top. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. So picking up from there, what'll happen now is after all the responses come in, then they'll update what they feel is most applicable, but we also are going to, anything that they didn't think should go into it, or if it's duplicated or similar language, they're going to set that aside. So when it gets to the board, we're going to have all the recommended adjustments or things that were enhancements, if you will, are going to be in bold. So we'll be able to identify that. And then we're also going to have the side, the ones that may not have, the staff thought that didn't fit, but we're still as a board be able to say, no, we want it implemented. So I made sure that they're going to be stand out and then all the responses so that we can, it'll make it easier for the board. So it just doesn't get jammed in. We don't know what's been identified. So once all the feedback comes, then we'll discuss that at the board level and make the adjustments and adopt it from there. Thank you.
Okay, we're doing okay so far. Nothing got offline. One more.
So the, I think it's number 4, maybe in our package, having to do with Buy Canadian policy. And I know we had some discussion of that previously, and given that we're in the new world era starting today, I'm just wondering where we are in do we have a policy going forward? Are we working on a policy? I know there's a lot of discussion from Roma and AMO and about all this. So just curious where we are in terms of buying Canadian.
You're going to look to staff, whether it's Michelle or Carrie.
I will start, and then if our treasurer needs to correct me, she can certainly jump in. Right now, our procurement is regulated by federal legislation. There is not a local opportunity to give preference to local and or Canadian. I actually heard on the way in this morning that they're given what happened at midnight tonight, that there will be a lot of advocacy. And I heard the Premier talk about that and one of the mayors from Cornwall talking about they will be working with different levels of government to see about updating policies at that level to take away some of those restrictions that we currently have in place. But we are beholden to upper tier legislation at this time.
Okay. Anything else, any other comments on any of the correspondence, or does somebody want to pull any of the other ones? Without any of that, then I'll need a motion to receive for information the correspondence package that was not dealt with previous, the other three items. Councillor Townsend and Councillor Hutchison. Doug and Doug, thank you. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Down to staff reports. Director of Community and Development Services, CDO. Whew. That's quite a title, Carl.
Yeah,
Getting long. Mr. Shipwreck, your 10.1.1, yes, one is Animal Control Officer in contract. Carl?
yes, thank you. Through you. So we have our current animal control officer, Cheryl Roberts, did provide her resignation. She provided the required 60 days notice to terminate her contract. We have extended that termination date to March 7th. She has been kind enough to extend it to allow us time to get a new officer in place. If we do need to extend that for a few more weeks, maybe to get the application or to get the contract signed, but and she is willing to do that if necessary, but currently her termination date would be March 7th. So we did issue an RFP to get proposals. We only received the one from Municipal Support Services. The costs are associated there. It will require a fairly high percentage increase. I mean, overall in the budget, the numbers aren't large, but the percentage increase to that budget is high. And currently that would show up in the budget as an unfunded allocation. Hopefully over the year, the required service would be lower than expected, which would bring that requirement down, but ultimately it's unknown at this point. Exactly what those, it's basically an as needed basis. So we don't know from year to year what that requirement will be.
Average, but the average is some are high, some are low, and it averages out over 10 years. But Councillor Hutchison, comments?
Yeah. Just a couple questions. So under the proposed costs, I was curious about the $500 per month, 24-hour per day answer and dispatch. But then there's also $1,000 per month for animal control standby fee. So what's the difference between 24-hour per day answer and dispatch versus animal control standby fee? Seems to be two different fees.
Yeah, so through you, chairs, the $500 per month is for the, basically what that provides is they have somebody who answers the phone. So all our communication through the municipal website and the municipality will be if you have a complaint or an animal control issue, you would call that number provided by Municipal Support Services. They don't call the municipality if they have an issue. I mean, they would, if they could call the municipality, and then we would provide that number for them to call. And they would, so MSS would deal with all the communication, all the discussion, that would all be tracked and provided in a monthly report back to the municipality. But ultimately, so currently right now, our current animal control officer does provide that service. If the police have an issue at 2 o'clock in the morning with an animal, they call that number and they dispatch, or they would find an officer to come out. In the new contract, they would send somebody. So police would have that number. You know, somebody needs an emergency service after hours. It's a fee that we don't necessarily, it's a service that we currently provide. If council so chooses to remove that service, we could dispatch through the municipal office, but that dispatch would only be done during regular business hours. So that would be a council decision. So the $1,000 per month is basically their charge to basically be available for a service. So if we get no calls in the month, which means, right, if there's no fee, they still have to have officers available or staff available to be able to provide that service. So there's a cost to them to have those officers on standby. Then that's the fee that they choose to pay for that $1,000 per month. And that just covers, for somebody to wait. So if we get 10 calls, we pay the hourly fee for each call regardless. For that $1,000, we would pay the $1,000 plus the hourly fee of each officer, depending on how many call outs we get. If we get no calls, then we only pay the $1,000.
So I'm curious about the municipal support services. What do we know about this group and where are they from?
They're a service out of Owen Sound. They used to be, they have two businesses. JSS is the same company. It's James Special Services. They provide bylaw enforcement, security, parking type services, as well as animal control for multiple municipalities. They do bylaw enforcement for Chatsworth. They do Southgate for bylaw and animal control. They do Orangeville. They do Owen Sound. Saugeen Shores, I believe, uses them for animal control and bylaw enforcement. So there are multiple municipalities around, and I did speak to a few of my peers in other municipalities that provided recommendations for them that, they do provide an adequate service, that they respond and they provide the information that the municipality needs and reports, and they move forward as best they possibly can with prosecutions. And actually, our current animal control officer, Cheryl Roberts, will be the manager of the animal control for special municipal support services as well. So we will have a contact there as well. So the service will basically stay the same for West Grey as it has in the past.
So that leads to my other question. I was a little concerned, and you talk about the size of the areas that they're looking after. Hopefully they have enough staff to cover that, because if we have a dog issue, we want somebody here ASAP, or, our police help out, but to have someone come from Owen Sound, to deal with some of the issue we have, it's a little bit far away. So hopefully they have people in the area, and it sounds like if Cheryl's going to be one of those people, then that's good. My other thought just with that is, we know the service is necessary. Like, we have all kinds of complaints and issues that she's dealt with in the past. I'm not so sure, given that there's the dog tag fees aren't covering the cost. I'm not so sure if it's fair to ask our taxpayers to cover the cost of a service for people who have animals or dogs. I'm not sure what other animals it covers, but dogs in particular. Now we're putting, $20,000 or $30,000 onto the tax base for this service. And I mean, I guess we do it for other things, but I just wondered if there's any way that we can alleviate that.
That'd be a question for the treasurer.
Yeah.
Sorry, put you on the
As
spot,
noted in the
Gary.
report, we'll review the fees for next year's fees and charges. We've already started selling dog tags, so it's difficult to do a change mid-year. But we will look at the fee schedule for next year.
And Jamie?
I can just add to that, Three Miracles. One of the parts of the recommendation in the report is to bring forward a bylaw to amend the fees and charges bylaw to increase dog tags by $5 effective April 1st. The rationale behind that is that it's a two-tier fee system for dog tags. If the tags are purchased by March 31st, they're one price. If they're purchased after March 31st, they change to a different price. So if council wants to change that, right now the recommendation is to increase them by $5 effective April 1st. If council wanted to change that number, you would certainly be within your right to do so, but that change wouldn't take effect until April 1st. So anyone who's already purchased tags would still be under that previous rate until the April 1st date.
They're good for 2025. Okay. It'll be kind of like bag tags. Everybody will be rushing in here. There's a threat. Be purchasing them real quick from the old price. Any other questions on this? Joyce, Counselor Noon.
Oh, just for clarity, I thought the dog tag system now is that you have the same number always now but you still have to come in to pay for the tag ahead of time. Okay, all right, just need some clarification. Thank you.
Okay, so there is a recommendation there. Get this into place. Do we have a mover for the recommendation? Counselor Shea, thank you. And a seconder. So we have the staff on place. Counselor Townsend, thanks, Doug. Any further questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you, Carl. Then I think we're down to Mr. Eckensweiler. Jamie. Municipal law enforcement officers, delegation of authority.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and through you, this report is on delegation of authority to appoint municipal law enforcement officers. The purpose of the report is to seek council's authorization to bring forward a bylaw that delegates council's authority to the clerk for the appointment of municipal law enforcement officers. The delegation of authority aims to streamline the appointment process, enhance administrative efficiency, and ensure timely enforcement of municipal regulations. Many municipalities have adopted similar delegations to ensure an efficient and timely appointment process. So the recommendation in the report is that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to delegate council's authority to appoint municipal law enforcement officers to the clerk.
Questions? Joyce, Counselor Noon.
Again, for clarification, currently we had a retired police officer that looked after these by law enforcement. So with this new policy, giving the clerk the opportunity, so you'd have that leverage to hire more staff to delegate this power, or how's it? I'm just don't understand the whole concept.
Okay.
Through Mayor Eccles, no, I wouldn't have more power to hire any additional staff or anything like that. Everything would still go through budget for that, but just using the animal control officers as an example. So when that contract is signed, everyone who works for MSS will need to be appointed as a municipal law enforcement officer. So this would just allow me to appoint them on behalf of council, as opposed to coming back with a report and a subsequent bylaw every time there's a change in staff or something like that. So any changes to our bylaw enforcement contracts would always come through council. This is just that administrative process of actually formally and legally appointing them to act as a municipal law enforcement officer.
I think it will, if I could further, it's a timing thing as well too. Municipal Services has somebody, and we've missed this council meeting, and so they really can't work for us, and it might be 2 weeks in the summertime. It might be a month before we get to another council meeting, and I think just the efficiencies is probably the biggest word in this report. Okay. The recommendation is there, moved by Deputy Mayor Hutchison, seconder. Councillor Townsend, I think so. We're delegating the authority to appoint to the clerk's office. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you. What's that bring us down to? Bylaws? Oh, sorry, questions. I'll go back up to the agenda here. Questions? Any questions on anything that's happened? With anything? And you know that, Mr. Forrester, you're good, because you'll know exactly what page to get to.
All right, from the March 19th, 2024 meeting,
R-240319-03. Declaring industrial park land in Newstead surplus so they can be sold. I was wondering what's happening with that. Three Miracles, that was a bit of a process where we had to ensure that the surveys that we had were proper with the road alignments and so on and so forth, making sure that the road that was established was assumed within to the West Grey Road system. We subsequently obtained a survey of the lands. There's a 2-acre parcel and a 1-acre parcel, and at this moment in time, we're just waiting on the appraisal of the value of the lands to come back. After that, we'll be posting them for sale publicly.
Yep. Further? Go ahead.
Oh, that's good, but I have a second question.
Further.
All right, my second question is from the December 5th, 2023 meeting, R23-1205-015, the proposed subdivision around the police station. I'd like an update on that.
Michelle,
Thank you.
you've got the microphone on, so you can, yeah, go ahead. Michelle.
We've talked about this. Thank you for the question. We, the Director of Community and Development Services and I are currently working on that report now. We discussed it actually this week at our development team meeting. They're researching all this on best practices and stuff. So we want to make sure that we are diligent in our recommendations and the background information we provide. So I'm hoping it should be back to council within a month or so. Services, as you know, are still going in. They're putting the roads in. So we've got a bit of time, but we'd like to get that back within the next month.
All right, thank you.
That's it. Good. Thanks, Scott. Anyone else? Any other questions? Notice of motion. I think we have any on the docket right that were previously given. Does anybody have any notice of motion? Announcements. Anybody have anything to announce? Shrove Tuesday, pancakes are being served 6 to 8 at the Lutheran Church in Ayton tonight. Joyce? Downstairs in the Sunday school, yes. Yeah. That's one that's on. Anything else? Anybody else? Nothing going forward? Everybody's always eating in West Grey. Say that Saturday night it was very successful. The Newstead Lions had a wonderful chicken legs. Was down and participated in that. The hall was full, even with the weather that was slightly blustery. But participation was very good. They had a packed, and from what I understand, they had to go to another facility to find some wings because they ran out of wings. They had that many people there. So they did a very good job in Newstead Lions. A lot of times doing great things in the community. Well, nothing else. Then for announcements, closed session. No need for closed session. Then we're down to bylaws. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bylaws that are there. One confirming the proceedings, indemnification bylaw for employees, former employees, council, bylaw of comprehensive zoning as recommended by committee, bylaw to designate lands, site plan control, conveyance of lands. Bentic, this is dealing with the Lemco Forest Creek subdivision area between the municipality and the Canadian Lemcos Association, and delegation for authority to appoint bylaw officer or municipal law officer, sorry. I do all of those unless somebody wants one pulled. We have a motion to move all of those bylaws, moved by Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Thank you, Tom. And by Councillor Hutchison. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. That's all we have on the agenda, sir. Then I'm going to declare this meeting adjourned. Very good. And we'll see everybody back here at 2:00 for public meetings planning.